In general, our NVT trials went really well. They were fairly successful as a rule. Most of the farmers in South Australia probably had a fairly average year in terms of canola production. The way I like to look at the canola trials is just break them up into their three components. So we have the three herbicide groups in South Australia. The first of the conventionals are the conventionals where you can't apply any herbicide for broadleaf control. The ones that did really well in that type of trial, and those trials this year, were New Seed Diamond, which is a new-ish release, only released last year by the New Seed company. Very early flowering, and it suited the season that we had last year, where had a very dry finish. That early flowering was able to capitalise on the moisture that we had available, and it yielded very well. The second group is the Clearfields or ME-type tolerant varieties, and in that group we pretty much consistently saw one of the new lines from Pioneer's 44Y89, and that yielded really well at just about every site where we had it trialled. And it flowers probably just about 3 or 4 days earlier than some of the other lines that particularly Pioneer have in the system. And it's got the added advantage of having a different blackleg group. And so I think that'll create some interest with growers and advisors this year. And the last group is the Triazine Tolerance. In the last few years we've seen a big emphasis in releasing hybrid varieties into that herbicide group, and the one that's consistently performed really well and as part of that is Canola 559. We've had it in the system for probably 2 or 3 years now, and that has proven to be a very consistent performer at the hybrids. And of the open pollinators last year, Stingray, which is again an early flowering type variety, performed really well at pretty much every site where we had it trialled. Some of the other work that we're doing, we've discovered that by planting some varieties early, their phenology doesn't behave the same way as what we would understand them to behave if you sowed them at a normal time. So in the season that we had last year, a lot of growers took the opportunity to start planting around mid-April, and so a variety like 575, Canola 575, which is a mid-season variety, it doesn't appear to have anything that delays its flowering. So when you sow it early, it races through its development, reaches flowering very early, and the season that we had last year, while being an early variety was an advantage, which we saw in a lot of our MVT trials, flowering that little bit too early put it in this window that really made it prone to frost, and that pruned back its yield considerably in these agronomy type trials where we had tried these varieties very early.